Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning. Freedom marchers, freedom lovers, freedom family, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorillas in the building. Hitting y'all with this quick live stream. Hitting y'all with this morning paper. Yes, I'm going to be discussing more about the Charlie Kirk situation, but I'm bringing some different information to kind of help solidify what I believe led to Charlie Kirk's death. Right now, good morning to everybody. Just got through working out at the park. Man, I really went in this morning. About to go to the house and finish up. You know what I'm saying? With me and my kids going to finish the workout for the day. So I encourage everybody to get out there, get fit. It's never too late. You're never too old. You're never too young. Go out there and get fit, man. And stay fit and stay ready for what may come. All right? Not just for what may come, because you never know what may come. So it's always better to stay prepared. Anyway, why is it important to me what happened to Charlie Kirk? Well, because whether he was killed because leftist trends, terror cells took him out, or because some other more powerful actors had anything to do with it, well, it can create problems that will reverberate throughout the entire country. They are already using Charlie Kirk's death to push censorship, you know what I'm saying, to punish people for saying things that the power structure doesn't like, right? They are moving right along toward the ultimate agenda. Complete and total control over the entire population. They will strip us of our rights one right at a time. They will strip us one right at a time. And they will use any and every event. They will use any and every excuse. They will use public health, public safety, right? For the public good. It's all for the public. Well, let's censor the individuals within the public for the benefit of the people within the public. And good morning to Real Eyes in the building. Salute to you. You came through early. And I'm late because I went took my daughter to the homecoming football game last night, and it was quite a mess. It was quite a mess getting in and out of there. Anyway, so I got home later and got to bed later than I usually would have. But one right at a time. See, when these things happen, like what happened to Charlie Kirk, they push through lots of different things that can affect you in a negative way. They love to not let a good crisis go to waste. They love it. They love to use crises and not let them go to waste. Not for our benefit, for their benefit. Right? They will invoke and they will utilize the Hegelian dialectic to push their agenda forward. And they don't care who they have to hurt, maim, or kill to do so. Whether they had anything to do with the death or not. Look at 911. What happened after 911? The most infringing law, the most rights-destroying law came about in the form of the Patriot Act. And then when they had that anthrax scare, y'all remember that? The anthrax scare? What did they do? They created the Model States Health Emergency Powers Act. When there is a crisis, right, a health crisis, they can do certain things. They can strip you of certain rights for public safety and public health. When did they use that? They used it during the Modelo 19 pandemic. And now what do we have? We have the death of Charlie Kirk. And these people wasted no time to use his death to push an agenda, to push a narrative, and to come after what they say are certain individuals. The hypocrisy shined through like nothing else ever before. Not only is sunlight the best disinfectant, it is the best way to shine light on those who stay hidden. And now we have this Charlie Kirk thing, which is a lot more impactful than you guys would ever believe. Whether he's racist, whether he wasn't, whether he was super religious, whatever, if he was anti-left, all that stuff ties in together. And I have shown you guys, I have given you guys some things to think about in regards to who may have actually been responsible for Charlie Kirk's death. Right? First, I told you guys about the source that went to the gray zone and told them that Charlie Kirk was offered a shitload of money to a shitload of money by Israel, and Israel had invited Charlie Kirk to Israel, and he refused. Right? And then Candace Owens came and spoke out. And when she spoke out, she didn't talk about the left, did she? No, she talked about Israel. She talked about David Ackman. She talked about Benjamin Nosferatu offering Charlie Kirk to come to Israel. And who confirmed that? Benjamin Nosferatu himself told you guys that he had invited Charlie Kirk to Israel, and sadly, he won't be coming. Things are starting to align in that regard. Things are starting to point towards a certain thing, a certain agenda. But we know what Israel's agenda is, right? Kitty Face says no. No, I didn't see the deleted Patrick Bet David video. Yeah, it's pure sunlight. King Sex was good. Man, y'all names is wild. Kitty Face sure does all tie in. This is wild out here. Yes. E-Tom says, I love politics. That politics is just back in the 30s. Right or left, MFs is just blame the Jews. No, we're not blaming the Jews. This is not about blaming the Jews. This is about blaming. It's not even about blaming. It's about looking at everything. Looking at all the information that comes out. Not just what you believe. Not what just confirms your belief. Not what just rings true in your mind. Right? When they told you a leftist loony tranny terror cell did it, many of you were like, that must be it, right? But when you look at the timeline of events the FBI gave you, when you look at the evidence they have, when you look at the information they put out, it doesn't amount to a hill of beans. But you know what it does? Hold on, the hill. You know what it does? Well, in the last 6 months, Charlie Kirk was having a crisis in faith in Judeo-Christianity, in Zionist Christianity. He was having a crisis of faith in Israel itself because of what they are doing in Palestine, the genocide in Palestine. Well, Israel doesn't want people talking about that. Israel does not want influential, powerful people like Charlie Kirk to speak out against Israel about what they're doing in Palestine. But Charlie Kirk started having people come onto his show to talk about what Israel is doing, including Tucker Carlson, which brings me to the subject of the day. Eric Jordan, salute to you, brother. And yes, we have to take into account what they're saying about the furry tranny troll, the furry tranny troll terror cell. We got to take that into consideration because we got to look at, well, who are they throwing under the bus for this? How can they further create division Just tell them that the trannies did it. It could have very well been a black man. Mike said he's trans and he loves Charlie Kirk. Hey, however you got to roll. Mike, people don't hate you for your sexuality. They just, Michael Connor said the money we are giving Israel should be going to the people in need in the United States, and there's plenty of us. Facts, Michelle Connor, but it won't. We give Israel billions of dollars a year. And that's without their nefarious war. Before that, we were giving them billions of dollars a year. They get free health care. And for them, it's actually free. For the citizens of Israel, none of that shit comes out of their pocket. But we constantly talking about how we need free health care and free college over here, which would never be free for us. No one is going to give us billions of dollars to pay for our health care, to pay for our college, except for us. It's going to come out of our paycheck. It comes out of our paycheck. And I have to emphasize this. I am not a Charlie Kirk fan. I think Charlie Kirk is indeed a divisive racist. And the fact that he was, in my opinion, a divisive racist, gave them a great power. It gave them the perfect storm to shift the blame to someone else when they decided to take him out. Let's just blame the trannies. Let's just blame the left. Look, this is shit that Charlie Kirk said out of his own mouth. So it's going to make sense to people, right? That this was some form of retaliation from the left, from the trans. This is what, it gave them the perfect opportunity. But see, in their arrogance, they forgot that some people are still going to speak up and speak out. Somebody best said, be specific. I'm tired of being specific. Every time I say that, I'm tired. Listen, y'all go and y'all look up what Charlie Kirk said. Whether you believe it's racist or divisive, that's on you. I'm no longer going to justify my beliefs about Charlie Kirk to y'all. It is what it is. I can't point out any racism. Son of Cal, you full of shit. You've been here multiple times, and I have. I don't give a fuck whether y'all believe Charlie Kirk was a great man or not, whether y'all believe he was racist or not. What I am concerned about is the fact that Charlie Kirk was getting ready. He was on his way to completely turning against Israel and helping to expose what they're doing in Palestine, which is crucial for us to understand that what Israel is doing in Palestine is a horrible thing. And if they continue to do things like that and they continue to get away with it, it's going to be a problem for us down the road. It's going to be a problem for us. Whether you're a United States citizen, whether you're from the UK, whether you're from the Middle East, wherever you're from, Israel is on a campaign to expand their empire so that they can come out as the true leader of the free world. That is the whole thing. They want to exercise control over the entire world because they feel like they're the chosen people. Somebody said, give us some quotes. No, I'm not going to give you quotes. I'm making announcements. What are you talking about? I'm making announcements. You are not making any sense. Do you know how to use words properly? You're not making announcements. You are making announcements. Anyway, there are none. Whatever you say, however you want to feel about it. So, Tucker Carlson, just like Candace Owens, was close to Charlie Kirk. And Tucker Carlson has been very outspoken about what Israel is doing in Palestine. And that should be something that we should be hyper focused on. People like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and other people that speak. Dave Smith, the comedian, who is a small hat, but Dave Smith is a Jew who speaks out against what Israel's doing in Palestine. Think about that. Somebody says I should be in jail. Whatever you say. Divine Champ says, can we just stop talking about Israel and Palestine? We need to focus on issues at home and stop worrying about what's going on across the ocean. See, that's where you're wrong, Divine Champ, because What Israel is doing in Palestine is a direct reflection of how much support we give them no matter what they do. They are using our money. They're using funding from the United States to pay for their genocide. No, I will not stop talking about Israel and Palestine. And if you don't want to hear about it no more, you can go on about your business. You don't have to be here. See, these are things y'all don't understand. Y'all think shit happens and exists in a vacuum. It doesn't. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. What you should be saying is, can we just stop funding Israel? Can we just cut them off and let them do what they're going to do? And if they can't survive without us, then fuck them. See, these are some things that I would be saying. And I have said. Why are we funding Israel? Hamas Piker. PHM says, I've watched Kirk's show for the close to 10 years, and I know what his rhetoric was. It wasn't. Yes, it was. Yes, it was, PHM. It wasn't. It may not have been to you because you agree with it. But there are people that have a little more sense just to go along to get along. Right? Some people don't suffer from cult of personality disorder and cognitive dissonance. So they understand what's going on. You have to understand that from the very beginning, Turning Point had been funded by certain donors that some of whom we're not aware of. But we do know AIPAC contributed to Turning Point. We know that there are certain donors that gave money to Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, over the years. And when he started to do certain shit they didn't like, they threatened to pull funding. They put pressure on him. They called him anti-Semites. All these things. Charlie Kirk was divisive, telling people that they shouldn't trust black pilots because they don't feel like he's qualified, just because he's black. That's divisive. That's just one example. Oh, well, what about the context? The DEI and affirmative action and the quotas and the blah, blah, blah. Well, the largest beneficiary of DEI and affirmative action are white women. Y'all say they lowered standards and qualifications. Where's the proof of that? Especially for aircraft pilots who have certain rules from the FAA. See, certain positions where you have to, when you are responsible for the lives of hundreds of people at a time while you're flying across the sky, you can't lower certain qualifications. Now, does that pertain to the mechanics? And does that apply to the airline companies buying cheap parts, cheap shit to maintain their aircraft? Keeping old ass aircraft, not changing shit out when they should. See, y'all ain't looking at everything. Y'all just looking at the black pilot. Oh, it must be the black pilot. Oh, it must be the black pilot. Well, all the failures of these aircraft had nothing to do with the pilots did. So, y'all can move on with that bullshit. Fool ass Earthman says, fam, smash the like button. People let's work. Drop $1 in the super chat. Refresh the super chat. Shout out to my other homie Blue Blood who coined that phrase. That's what's up. Yeah. Salute the fool ass Earthman in the building, dropping that $10 super chat on you, boy, man. I really appreciate you, man. Every time you slide through, you support. Joanne Shardella, salute to you. Good morning to you, Queen. Thank you. I appreciate that. Based on you logic, everyone is racist if you're white. Based on you logic. Yeah, based on you logic. Yeah, sure. Because that's what I said. I said if you're white, you're racist. Yeah, whatever you say. Nimcompoops. Salute to brother Shelton in the building. Salute to you, man. Why do I support Islamic terrorists? When did I support an Islamic terrorist? Y'all just say shit. And I love to point it out. James Miller said, you're a veteran. I can't tell you sound like a loony libtard. Okay. Wow. It is what it is. Salute to Eric Jordan. Yes, facts. You're brainwashed. Can y'all write proper sentences when you try to insult me, please? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. If you're going to talk shit, at least structure your sentence properly. Structure your sentence properly, and then we can have something going. The advisor says, brother spitting so much truth is beautiful here. You're doing good work. I appreciate that, the advisor. Now, let's get into it. Right? Because I'm just waiting for somebody to present a sound argument so we can have an actual discussion. You guys are just saying shit. Tell me what area in America have the black people made better? Well, Black Wall Street in Oklahoma was made better by the black people that lived and operated within that community until the neighboring white neighborhood decided that they didn't like that and attacked them. Windsor Hills, I'll give you multiple examples from where I grew up. Windsor Hills, founded by black folks, a beautiful area, affluent, well-to-do people living there, beautiful black community, beautiful manicured lawns, $1 million homes. Windsor Hills, Baldwin Hills, Ladera Heights, many parts of Inglewood, made better. The community of athletics, the NFL, the NBA, tennis, golf. You want me to keep going? Yeah, what about the area of athletics? The area of medicine. The first open heart surgery performed by whom? What was it? A black man. But a white man took the credit, didn't he? Your mama says Kirk was a racist. I don't give a F what you say. He only liked them Uncle Tom ass black folks. Facts, yo mama. But let's get into Tucker Carlson. Bullshit, such a liar. See, y'all ain't got nothing. Y'all have nothing productive to say. Nothing. Ognart the Great says he's racist. I appreciate you for being honest, my brother. Thank you. At least be real about it. Why do I make everything racial? I don't. Anyway, so Tucker Carlson. I think Tucker Carlson understands who really may have had anything to do with Charlie Kirk's death. ZOMG Forley says Windsor Hills is stupid rich people. Yes, I live down the street from Windsor Hills. Windsor Hills was the neighboring community. I lived in View Park. View Park people aren't as wealthy as Windsor Hills people, but they're almost there. Yeah, black folks. Founded by black folks. Built up by black folks, just like Baldwin Hills. Anyway. So Tucker Carlson had an issue with what Israel's doing, and he was getting ready to go on Charlie Kirk's show, and they had a conversation. So I'm giving you the context. We're going to start off from where Tucker Carlson is talking about how he was in Charlie Kirk's hotel room before the show. But let's get into this.
TPUSA M-Fest event, Turning Point event. I often go. I always have the best time. I always see Charlie ahead of time. We have a cup of coffee in a hotel room, talk about what's going on.
Eric Jordan says, the real question, what area white people didn't sabotage black people? Facts. Rosewood, Tulsa. There are a number of those, right? Anyway, I appreciate that, Tim Richardson. Here we go.
In addition to being, of course, a conservative advocate, he was also a conservative organizer, a coalition builder, and he was very involved in politics in a way that I'm not, so it was interesting as hell. But it was also a way to learn what young people are thinking about, talking about, because he was on college campuses all the time, and what is the state of a couple of big debates that are happening within the Republican coalition, particularly around foreign policy.
Foreign policy.
And Charlie's views on foreign policy, which I think are fairly well known now, a lot of people lying about them.
Foreign policy. This is very important.
Were evolving, but had really evolved. And who knows why he reached the conclusions he did. I think his Christian faith informed them mostly. It was also the experience of talking to young people. And his views were very much like theirs. He believed that the war on terror had been a net loss for the United States and it caused incalculable damage, not just economic.
This is where we're getting into the reality. See, I think Charlie Kirk was having an awakening about who the real enemy was and who was creating the real problems, right? And he was going against what they wanted us to believe, right? That the war on terror was a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. We have to get rid of all the terrorists. And we got to spend all this money. We got to create all these deaths. But the problem is, he was still hyper-focused on the left and black folks being the enemy. Unlike Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, who shifted their focus to what?
Physical damage, but spiritual damage to the United States. It was bad. We got nothing out of it. We were only hurt. Yeah. And he didn't want to see that again. And he felt very strongly about that. And of course, I agreed. And so before that speech that I gave in July, we had a conversation about this backstage.
Understand. Now, this is this past July that he's referring to. This past July, just, 2 months ago?
Right before I went on. And I was fulminating and getting all red in the face like I often do, to my shame. And I was mad thinking about this and thinking about the effort by the neocons in the United States to draw us in to another forever war with Iran. Not a defense of Iran, of course.
Draw us into another forever war with Iran. What did Donald Trump do to Iran on the behalf of Israel? What did he do? He sent 3 bombers into Iran to drop bunker busters, 12 of them. Launched a strike against an independent sovereign nation, essentially on the behalf of Israel, after Israel attacked Iran for no fucking reason.
It's merely an acknowledgement that we've done this before. This happened in Iraq, which we entered into at the behest of those same foreign policy strategists, and it didn't work. And so I was going on at some length backstage with Charlie, and I said, probably not going to talk about that. I'm not going to torture you. I know your donors hate this when I say that. And also Epstein.
I know your donors hate this when I say that. His donors don't want Charlie Kirk giving platforms to people that are going to talk about these foreign policies that we implement, that we have been implementing for years. This is what Tucker Carlson was going to go on to, he did go on to Charlie Kirk's show to speak about. Now, this next part is very important.
Was in the news, and it was clear those same foreign policy strategists, and it didn't work. And so I was going on at some length backstage with Charlie, and I said,
let me interject here. It did work, right? The war against Iraq, the war on terror, it did work. Not for us. It didn't work for what they said it was supposed to work for. What did it work for? To enrich the defense contractors who would then go on. Oh my God, bro. Hold on, guys. Hold on. So the war on terror worked for those individuals that it was meant to work for. It didn't work for what they told us it was going to work for. Just understand that.
Probably not going to talk about that. I'm not going to torture you. I know your donors hate this when I say that. And also Epstein was in the news, and it was clear to me that
Epstein was in the news. Why jump from his donors to Epstein? Why jump from Charlie Kirk's donors to Epstein? Well, you're going to find out. See, he's very, Tucker Carlson is very methodical in the way he's talking right now. He's sending a message He is giving you clues. He's dropping y'all dots to connect. Why jump from Charlie Kirk's donors not liking Tucker Carlson speaking out against a forever war to Jeffrey Epstein?
Those same foreign policy strategists, and it didn't work. And so I was going on at some length backstage with Charlie, and I said, probably not going to talk about that. I'm not going to torture you. I know your donors hate this when I say that. And also Epstein was in the news, and it was clear to me that, Epstein's probably not like a Mossad agent or something, but Epstein clearly had contact with Israeli intelligence and American intelligence and French intelligence, but the only one you're not allowed to talk about is Israeli intelligence. But it seemed true to me, and I had done some work on that, and I knew a bunch of people pretty close to that story. So I thought that, and I said that to Charlie.
Jeffrey Epstein had contacts with Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, French intelligence, but you were not allowed to talk about what? His connection to Israeli intelligence.
And I said, but I'm not going to say that because I don't want to make your donors mad. I know it's just going to be like an endless flurry of text telling you to stop or you're going to lose a bunch of funding. And he looked at me. I'll never forget it.
So what Tucker Carlson is saying is that if he goes on to Charlie Kirk's show to speak out against what Israel's doing, our involvement in getting into this, launching strikes against Iran and all this, Charlie Kirk's donors aren't going to like it, especially if you talk about Jeffrey Epstein being tied to Israeli intelligence. You're going to lose funding. You're going to lose funding if I go onto your platform. You're going to get a flurry of texts lambasting you for allowing me to come out on your platform and speak out against what Israel's doing, our connection to Israel, how we're acting on the behalf of Israel, as though Israel rules over us. Yeah, that Tucker Carlson was concerned about upsetting Charlie Kirk's donors.
And said, go all the way. Do it. Go all the way. I said, man, a lot of things I can some work on that. And I knew a bunch of people pretty close to that story. So I thought that. And I said that to Charlie, and I said, but I'm not going to say that because I don't want to make your donors mad. I know it's just going to be like an endless flurry of text telling you to stop or you're going to lose a bunch of funding. And he looked at me, I'll never forget it, and said, go all the way. Do it. Go all the way. I said, man, a lot of things I can talk about. I don't need to talk about that.
Charlie Kirk told him, just go out, just go ahead. Go ahead. Say whatever you want to say about Israel, about this war, about that war, about everything. Charlie Kirk told him, go ahead, speak about it. Go ahead. That's what he said. Charlie Kirk told him that. That's according to Tucker Carlson. Charlie Kirk told him, don't worry about my donors. Don't worry about upsetting anybody. Go ahead and speak your speech. He told Tucker Carlson, speak your speech. Salute to y'all in the building, by the way. Salute to y'all. Give me a second. Let me get through this and I'll read the comments. Chat.
And he said, do it. So I did it. By the way, I think that conversation hit a mic on, and so did I, probably exists somewhere on somebody's server, but that's, I think, a faithful rendition of what he said. And by the way, I'm not trying to blame him for my remarks. You can agree or disagree with those remarks, but I'm saying this only because I was shocked and sickened by the reaction of the ghoulish and really repulsive reaction of the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, to Charlie's death. Basically made it all about him and all about his country immediately, trying to take the energy, the sadness, the grief that people felt over Charlie's murder and redirect it towards support for whatever project he's involved in. And by the way, Benjamin Netanyahu is not the same as the nation of Israel at all. Bibi is despised by many people in Israel. And if you know people who live there, you know that that's true. There are huge divisions within the Israeli government. I mean, there are certain parts of the intel world in Israel that do not support some things.
Let me help you out, Leo. You said you out. You ain't got to announce it. Let me get you on out of here. You don't ever got to come back. Leo Martinez. You ain't never got to come back. There you go. So, there you have it, y'all. There you have it. There you have it. TI Gaming is not a crime says, fuck Charlie Kirk, talk about all the blacks that been killed recently. I've talked about that. I've talked about it. See, I like the... Listen. We can talk about... I've talked about the blacks being killed. I've done that over the years. Right now, I'm talking about another important topic that we should really be paying attention to, because they're trying to start some nonsense over what they say led to Charlie Kirk's death. And what many people close to Charlie Kirk is trying to tell y'all is that Israel is likely responsible without coming out and saying it. They're giving you all the clues. They're giving you all the information, right? Did he say anything about the left? Did Candace Owens say anything about the left? No. These are people close to Charlie Kirk, has spent time with him in the months leading up to his death and saw a sort of transformation. Real Eyes, salute to you, Queen. Yes, they would be correct. They're more correct. To me, this makes more sense than what the FBI is telling us about Tyler Robinson being the killer, because none of it adds up. Yahshua says they will replace Kirk with a Shapiro to try to convince the youth to support genocide. And that's the whole point, right? Mind the man, some moose. Salute to you, brother. Salute to you. Join in the chat. Well, Francis Gibson is not about white or black. Charlie Kirk's death to me had nothing to do with white or black. To me, in my opinion, based on these facts and all these things that are coming out, because Tucker Carlson did go on Charlie Kirk's show and speak out about what Israel's doing. Candace Owens has done it. Dave Smith has done it on Charlie Kirk's platform. Charlie Kirk challenged Ben Shapiro about what Israel's doing shortly before his death. You might say, oh, well, this is just circumstantial versus what the FBI has presented us, which is also circumstantial. And does it make sense? Tim Richardson says, I'd be looking into past events for patterns. Anytime someone speaks out against Israel, what happens? Something bad happens to them, whether they get killed, whether they get made to look like they nuts, whether they get ostracized, whether they get, you know what I mean? Well, Charlie Kirk, unfortunately, they just took his life. Whoever, his life was taken. I'm not saying Israel took his life, but to me, it makes more sense. The motive is stronger in that regard than what they're trying to tell us about Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson's motive is not as strong to me as Israel's motive, but they're not going to even suspect Israel. They're, the FBI, our government, Donald Trump, none of these people are going to even think about even mentioning Israel. But notice how Bibi Netanyahu, Nosferatu, had to come out on 2 different occasions to talk about Israel, how Israel had nothing to do with it. And then he tried to blame Qatar for funding rumors. Why would they wouldn't need to do that? These people, this belief that Israel had anything to do with it came from Candace Owens. It came from Tucker Carlson. It came from the source that spoke to Gray Zone. Why would they need any funding to speak out? Not everything is an international conspiracy, says the base Frohawk. What does that have to do with anything? Not everything is an international conspiracy. That doesn't mean that nothing is an international conspiracy. That doesn't mean that there's no such thing as an international conspiracy. That doesn't mean that this wasn't an international conspiracy. Not everything is a national conspiracy, because that's what the line the FBI is giving y'all is, a national conspiracy. This whole thing about tranny terror cells having to do with Charlie Kirk's murder. Yeah, the Charlie Kirk Act, which I'm going to be discussing as well. So, are you going to celebrate Charlie Kirk Day, October 14th? They gave him a day. Like, really? Already? No, I won't be celebrating Charlie Kirk Day. No, I will not. No. Well, I wouldn't be surprised, Gen X, for Jesus. BB might be funding something of listen, they got a lot of money, thanks to us. In the words of Carl Lee Haley on the movie Time to Kill, I'm adding the quote, yes, he deserves to die, and I hope he burns in hell. Hey, I have no problem with that. I have no problem if you believe that is the case. I have no problem with that. Like I said, man, in my opinion, Charlie Kirk's divisive behavior gave Israel the perfect cover to do what they needed to do, right? Because they knew immediately, well, let's put this patsy in place, because Charlie Kirk already did the half the work for us. So we'll place this patsy here, and then the FBI will have an easy time convincing people that it had to do with a tranny or a tranny loving furry guy. You're a demonic scumbag, says Stagnation. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Charlie Kirk Day is wild as hell. Somebody says I'm a joke. Okay. Candace is exposing the truth, following her along the way. Yes. I'm so wrong. I will pray for you. Well, I appreciate that. Blaming Israel makes you look fool. Blaming Israel makes you look fool. Yeah, I look fool. Sure. John McCutcheon says, I appreciate your courage. I appreciate you, man. Hey, man, I'm just, I'm just trying to use logic and reason to make all this make sense. If you try to use logic and reason to make what the FBI has presented make sense, it doesn't make sense. Mark Wilson, I wouldn't say Tyler is innocent. Listen, I'm not even going to get all into that. I just don't think that he was the one that pulled the trigger. If they say he was where they say he was when the shooting happened, I'll just say that. Tim Rich said, tired of death. Well, you're gonna be tired for the rest of your life, because death will never go away. You're going to be tired until you die, because you can't avoid death at all. Carol says Tyler didn't do it. I don't believe he did. So anyway, that's what I believe. Unknown perception. I believe that. I believe it. That's just what I believe. That y'all don't have to believe what I believe. I'm just presenting you with more information. This time from Tucker Carlson, who these things are being consistent. Candace Owens' accounts are consistent with Charlie Kirk's. With Tucker Carlson, and both of their accounts are in line with what the source that went to the gray zone said. And it all makes sense. And then you have Benjamin Nosferatu coming out, making it a point to defend their innocence in Charlie Kirk's death vehemently, by blaming Qatar funding. It is what it is. But y'all can go ahead and believe what you want. Y'all can believe what you want. Meanwhile, they'll be working on stripping you of your rights to free speech in the name of Charlie Kirk, who believed supposedly in free speech. He didn't separate hate speech from free speech like Pam Bondi is doing in his name. Donald Trump is threatening reporters to come after them because they didn't say very nice things about him. So guess what? Guess what we have to contend with? And in the meantime, Israel, because by the order of Benjamin Nosferatu and the defense minister, is ripping and running through Gaza right now, displacing and murdering people. They have, listen, it has been declared a genocide over in Palestine, over in Gaza. And who's committing this genocide? Israel. 680,000 people. Over 400,000 people, or 400,000 of those deaths were of children. Children. Over 400,000 children have died by the hands of Israel since this whole thing started. Almost 500,000 children. And people are speaking out against that. They're trying to give, listen, Bibi Nosferatu went on to Brandon Tatum's show and tried to convince people that no one has went out of their way as much as Israel to protect the lives of civilians in enemy territory, which is a bunch of fucking lies. And then shortly after, Benjamin Nosferatu goes on his press tour to all the conservative motherfuckers that y'all enjoy so much. Guess who gets killed? Charlie Kirk. And then what comes out? Charlie Kirk has been turning against Israel. He has been turning his back on his donors. He has been pushing back. He has been resisting. He has been telling them, no, I will not take your money. No, I will not go to Israel. And that's what it is. And that's what I believe. That's where I am going with this. And that's what I'm going to stay on. And every time something comes out that points to it, I'm going to bring it to y'all's attention so that we can focus on what the problem really is. No, that's a lie, Matt Alsop. The Lancet study, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. 680,000. Over 400,000 children dead. That's what the Lancet study just came out this past week. And the UN declared it a genocide. Over 600,000 people, over 400,000 children, period. I don't know where you got your numbers from. Anyway, salute to y'all. I got to get out of here. You guys stay up. You guys stay frosty. You guys keep your head on the swivel. Stay fit. Go out there. Get your exercise on. Get all your boomsticks and freedom seeds and get to training. Because there might be a fight for your rights a lot sooner than you believe. And I'm here to give you all a heads up so that when something happens, y'all are not like, oh, I didn't know this was going to happen. I'm telling y'all what could happen. I'm telling y'all what could happen. Because are y'all going to sit back and allow the government to strip you of your rights to free speech on the behalf of Charlie Kirk? Are you going to allow that to happen? Because it's not just going to happen to people on the left. No, it's going to apply to everybody. You understand? So we'll see what happens, man. Anyway, y'all stay up. Much love, like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.